Etienne, good evening. Thanks very much for your time. Not too long ago, I had one of your comrades here in the studio who was quite complimentary about how the industry has, come on board to ensure that there are no job losses, and if anything, jobs are to be created. Has AVI been different in the bigger scheme of things? Putting aside what has happened in this instance for a second, what has been their attitude all along?
Our concern is that their attitude runs quite contrary to what's happening in the industry, but also crucially runs contrary to what they committed they would do in terms of jobs when they went to the competition tribunal a few years ago to buy and to get approval for the merger of Green Cross. So while the industry has been stabilizing and while we've seen less jobs being lost, we have this JSE listed company that has now gone and closed its Cape Town factory with a loss of more than 300 jobs. And so we are concerned that this is not because of the normal industry problems, but because of a very specific situation at AVI.
What has been their explanation for going back on their word?
They believe that what has happened in the industry is that, or they argue that what has happened in the industry is that lots more imports have been coming into the country, and for that reason they can't sell locally manufactured footwear. We've provided evidence to the competition authorities that this is not the case. We've provided evidence to the competition authorities to show that in actual fact this is a large profitable company, a large profitable JSE listed company that is now deciding to close a footwear manufacturer making shoes in South Africa in order for it to make more profits, in order for it to gain as much as it possibly can. And while that is the right of these companies, our argument is that it is now going back on commitments that it made to the competition authorities. And for that reason, we've asked the competition authorities to revoke that merger and to put in place penalties against AVI.
Well, but apart from asking the competition commission to do what you've just said, you are asking it to do. Did you at any point, as workers, sit them down and in addition to simply looking at the books, perhaps explored alternatives?
We did. We were involved in an extensive process in terms of the law, in terms of the Labour Relations Act, where we put down several alternatives. One of the alternatives that we put down is instead of just closing this factory and importing all the Green Cross shoes from China or India, why don't you give an opportunity to another local manufacturer that may be better than you at manufacturing shoes and can actually provide those shoes to you? We also put down another alternative. We said that the government has introduced a scheme called the training layoff scheme, which allows companies that are in trouble some breathing space to restructure, to become more profitable. And despite these very obvious alternatives, the company just rejected these and have gone ahead and retrenched the workers.
They didn't, did they give you responses before taking a final decision? Did they go through the alternatives you presented before them? For example, they said, no, this won't work for this, that, and the other reason. The other one won't work either. Did they do anything like that?
They did. We were not at all convinced by the answers that they've given. And it's for that reason that we believe that in actual fact, either through their own incompetence or because there was intent, they've gone and closed Green Cross as an operation. And while we see many retrenchments throughout the country, this one is special, Vuyo, because a merger was approved. The Competition Commission and the Competition Tribunal made a decision based on this commitment given by AVI. And now we've asked the Competition Tribunal to look into this and to determine whether, in actual fact, this JSE-listed company has not honored its commitment.
Well, the tribunal has carried itself honorably up until now, if feedback is anything, or what people say is anything to go by. But what happens if, for whatever reason, it finds against you? What will you do then?
Well, we've put arguments in favor to say that we think, this company has not kept to its commitments. If they do find against us, there is an opportunity for an appeal to go to the Competition Appeal Court and try and make arguments there as to why it should be done. If the tribunal finds against AVI, we think that there may be an opportunity to force the company to retain the jobs either in its existing factory or to possibly work with other footwear manufacturers. Vuyo, when we've spoken to other footwear manufacturers, they've been astonished by the problematic decisions taken by AVI during its ownership of Green Cross. And they cannot understand that the company made the kind of decisions it did and that it was not able to grow Green Cross as a brand in South Africa. So we think we've made a strong argument to the tribunal and hope that it will rule in our favor.
Let's leave it there for tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Etienne Flock, who is from the South African Clothing and Textile Workers Union.